Good morning, everyone. For the November 4th, 2025 council meeting, we will call the meeting to order. Council is conducting this meeting in person and via conference call in accordance with Municipal Government Action Section 199. Council chambers is open for public attendance in person. However, councilors and members of the public may still join meetings remotely using our current teleconference process. If the meeting is recessed, callers will be put on hold until the meeting reconvenes, with the exception that numerous callers will be asked to call back in. This helps with call quality. Please note this meeting is being recorded and may be uploaded to our website and our social media. To eliminate background noise, please mute your phone during the meeting. We also ask that all attendees mute their devices to reduce disruptions during the meeting. Everyone has the right to be present at council meetings and council committee meetings. Any attendees that are considered disruptive to the progression of this meeting may be removed at the discretion of the chair as per Municipal Government Act Section 198. We thank you for your cooperation and understanding. And just for everyone, again, eScribe is not working at the moment, so we'll be voting by hand. We have an agenda before us. Is there any additions or deletions?
I'd like to add to the agenda under 7.2.1 or under 9 new business, motion for council approval to attend OEP course for CEO employment at RMA,
Okay.
November 17th.
So we had a few proposed additions already here. Does it administration want to bring them forward or each individual?
Through the chair, it might be good practice for council to add them. Just we'll just make sure they all do get added though.
Okay. So 7.2, oh, sorry. 8.1.3 is what we had in the proposed additions. Okay.
Perfect.
It's an addition.
That doesn't matter. Whoever.
Well, that's what it was here, was 8.1.3 is on the paperwork.
Yeah.
That's fine. I think probably other councillors would like to attend, so it should go under new business. We can talk about who wants to attend at that point. Sure.
I see there was another one.
If we're, oh, sorry.
I was just going to ask that's actually my motion to ask Councillor Sigurdsson or MLA Sigurdsson ask the administration to draft a formal letter, and I just brought it forward today so we get it in before the RMA.
Okay. That would be under 7.3.1. There's a letter that was dropped on everybody's desk this morning as well. And we have an in-camera item as well.
Yes, through the chair. So administration would like to add one item. It's for the Murfield Lagoon information follow-up. We're proposing to add that to agenda item number 10. It's just an in-camera item. Thank you.
Perfect. There's also a notice of motion coming as well, but I will ask for the notice of motion just so everybody understands how the agenda works. We kind of make it as streamlined as possible. So should I move to try to get an adoption of the agenda after the notice of motion?
No, adoption of the agenda first, and then.
So anything further? Looking for a notice to adopt the agenda as presented.
I'll move to, sorry.
I'll move to approve the agenda as amended.
Okay, any questions on the motion? Call the question, all in favor? That is carried. Any councillors have a notice of motion? Councillor Kester. And just so we just present it and then we'll put it in the agenda for later. So just so you know, it's not a full on. Okay.
A notice of motion is that council rescind motion CM-2022-07-15 and motion CM 2023-02-34 and CM-2025-02-18. That's my notice of motion.
Thank you. Just clarification from CAO. Is there a vote on the notice of motion?
Through the chair, no, there is not. So a
Okay.
notice of motion is presented
Mhm.
and it can either be at a future meeting to be, and the date would be discussed. However, I believe Councillor Kester's notice of motion is to be for today and waived. So that would have to be a vote by council. But
Yeah,
could be
that was
done
my next question.
prior to the discussion.
Yes, so Counselor Kester, are you looking to discuss this today?
Yes, I would move that council allow these motions to be discussed today.
No motion is required at this time.
So perhaps what we could do is just wait till the time to do it. And I think if everyone's agreeable, just move it to number 9. Whatever council wants to do.
So
It's,
I was going to add it to new business number 9 because we have a full agenda. So everybody has, if there's any information. There was some information circulated this morning that pertains to this, or if any counselor needs anything further. So it'll be under 9.1. Gives us a little time to digest it, so it's not just fresh.
I believe that has to be a motion to speak to it today.
Yes. So through the chair, I believe it's section number 96 of the procedure bylaw that so just in the notice of motion itself, so section number 96, council may by resolution agree to waive the notice and address the matter at the same meeting which the notice of motion was presented if council considers it appropriate to do so. So we can just wait till that and make that motion at that time.
Agenda item 9.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Anything further?
No.
Any other notices of motion? Okay. We will be moving on. There's nothing further required for, we will discuss this at 9.1. We'll move on to bylaw readings and public hearings, 3.1, bylaw 2025-36 procedure bylaw.
Good morning, council. Brian from administration. On page 3 of your agenda package is an amendment to the procedure bylaw. So bylaw 2025-36. So under section 187 of the Municipal Government Act, every bylaw must go through 3 separate and distinct readings before it can be approved. The purpose of the 3 readings is to ensure that council has enough time to review the bylaw, understand any changes that are being proposed, and make an informed decision. So kind of just to give everyone just a general update or a general overview of this bylaw, or the process itself. So the first reading really does introduce the bylaw. The second reading allows council to discuss it and make changes if needed. And the third reading is third and final approval of the bylaw. Councillors must have an opportunity to review the bylaw in full. So that's why the bylaw was inserted into the package. So council did have an opportunity to read it. 3 readings of a bylaw may be completed if there is unanimous consent of all 3 readings on at that same meeting. There is a motion required for that third and final reading to be held, and that must be by unanimous consent. Just for the new councillors here, only the title of the bylaw needs to be read aloud at the meeting. It is administration's and I guess the expectation that council has read the bylaw in full in the package. So today there is a very minor amendment to our procedure bylaw, and this is just due to the assigning bylaw that came into place. So when administration does edits to bylaws, our typical fashion is to put new things in green and cross out things in red, just so council has an idea of what changes from the bylaw itself. So if council goes to page 10 of your agenda package, under page 50 sub 7, at the organizational meeting, one thing that is not required anymore is to appoint signing authorities for banking. And the reason why this is not required anymore is that we have a signing authorities bylaw. So that's covered under this new bylaw. And that's the only change that was done in this procedure bylaw itself. The numbering does change when there's a new bylaw that is presented. So this bylaw was amended in 2015 earlier in the year. However, when it gets changed again, a new number is assigned. So that's the purpose of this bylaw today. It's a relatively simple, straightforward bylaw amendment that just needs to be addressed by council. So on page 3, there are 4 recommended resolutions or recommendations from administration for council to follow. So the recommendations will be the resolutions that council may choose or consider to pass. So all 3 readings of this bylaw are being proposed or recommended by administration today to read. So resolution 1 through 4, each one will have to be voted on by council just to be voted on. If there's any questions about this process, procedure, or the bylaw, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, CAO Henderson. Any questions from council? This is kind of an update to our procedure bylaw. There is no public hearing needed for it. This is for council. Want to make sure everybody understands what's going forward.
I'll move that council approves the first reading of procedure bylaw 2025-36.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing and hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. There'll be a second motion needed. Councilor Priest,
I'll move that council approves second reading of bylaw 2025-36.
thank you. Motion's on the floor. Any discussion on the motion? Discussion?
Yeah. Line item 16. Wonder if this would be a good opportunity to erase it, correct it?
Through the chair, that's a good point. So this is actually excellent. So Councillor Kester read through the package and noticed that section 16 is also out of date. We'll have to just update that to the ATIA section. So this is actually a perfect opportunity for either second reading and then return to administration for further amendments. And then it will come back to council for third reading. So there is an option for council to grant second reading and then pause and then send it back for administration for final edits prior to the third and final approval. So this bylaw will not receive 3 readings today.
Perfect. So there's a section 16, the Freedom of Information Protection and Privacy Act, that has changed the acronym for that and the whole act behind it. Anybody notice anything else while we're looking? There's nothing in here about code of conduct, I don't think.
No, and I think that was the amendment that was done earlier in 2015, so that was removed at that point.
So looking for a motion as amended?
So what council could do is they could grant second reading of this bylaw or just not grant the second reading. I don't think there's a motion on the floor yet for second reading. Oh, is there? Okay. So council could approve second reading and then just not approve third reading and just direct administration to make the edits as discussed by council and then move forward.
Discussion. Do we want to proceed with second reading? Do we want to? Okay. Okay. Sounds good. I will, with the discussion in hand, I will call the question. All in favor? That's carried. So this will automatically go back for updates, final approval.
Yeah, there should be a motion put forward by council just to, well, I'll let Councillor Kester do it.
That we update line number 16, Freedom of Information Privacy Act to the new lingo.
Motion on the floor to update line 16 with the Freedom of Information Act. Any further discussion? Call the question. All in favor? That's carried. We're done with the procedure bylaw. Okay. No presentations or delegations today. We move on to consent agenda. Here's where we have a bulk of information that we can approve through one motion, or if anybody has anything that they want to bring out to discuss further, you just have to list, and there's several different in front of you, different motions. There's either one for approval of the whole, remove one, or approval of as presented, including. Council's wishes. Councilor Priest.
I'll move approval of the November 4th, 2025 consent agenda as presented.
So that'll include 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Correct? Motion's on the floor to approve all of those. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? And that's carried. I apologize. I called you Counselor Deputy Reeve.
I don't mind if
Okay.
it's awkward, Deputy Reeve, please. I can't even say it, so I'm fine with Counselor.
So that number 6, business arising from the consent agenda. There's nothing there. Council reports and related business. I was going to do this a little bit different because traditionally I've always heard at the table that the 6, 5, 6, and 7 always get the end of it. So I was going to just start with and kind of go backwards or just kind of make it a little fair once in a while. Because sometimes people, some of the councilors at the end say, well, all that information's been covered. Would you be okay with that? Seeing and hearing none. So I will move, then we'll start at 7.7 and work back. Councilor Lowerson, is that okay? Okay, so go ahead with your report, sir.
Thank you. I didn't get my report in on time because I don't know why. October 7th, regular council meeting, 14th MPC, ASB, Wheatland Housing Management, and then just the organized meetings that we were all at. And Wheatland Housing Management Board on October 16th. So if there's no questions, I'll move my report as presented.
Thank you. Motion's on the floor. Any questions or discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. We'll move to back down to 7.6, Division 6 Council Report.
Move down a little more, Keith, and if that's under your eyes or.
We're just having some trouble with
Coming
with
right
the
in
way
the
the sun
front.
is right now. Some of the councilors have a hard time seeing their screens for anybody that's. Yeah, for sure. And it looks like in about 10 minutes, it's going to be behind the wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, my report on October 3rd, I attended the CRMA hosted at Pheasant Bank, I believe. October 7th, we had a regular council meeting. October 14th, we had an MPC board meeting, an ASB board meeting, and an Ellis Pack board meeting. So I was here for all day. On October 16th, we had a WHMB board meeting. On the 17th, WHMB, I went back to the office and finished the CAO contract and signed it as per instructions of the board meeting. And on the 24th, we had swearing in an organizational meeting. And on the 27th, we participated in a webinar for, I just put down the old language counselors' roles and responsibilities. And on the 28th, I was here for mandatory council training. And that is my report. If there's any questions, I'll answer them. If not, I'll move it as such.
Thank you. Motion on the floor. Question.
Just a quick question, Councillor Kester, have you got a new CAO at Wheatland Housing Management Body or not yet? Is that in the,
We have an intern CIO. Our current CIO is retiring in a few months. And we're bringing along our a new interim CIO to be working together. And when Vicky retires or the CAO retires, then will be I'm the CAO. So we did a contract. And everything's in there. That's signed. We have a CAO contract.
Are you able to say who it is?
Hmm?
Are you able to say who the new CAO will be? It's not public yet?
If I can't remember the wording, but I'll check out for next meeting. I don't know if the CAO is public information on the Housing Act. Something come up. Like here, the CAO is part of council and we put everybody's per diems and as well as the CAO. I don't know if it is the same for Wheatland Housing Management Body, because it's a creature of the province, not a creature of county. And I don't know where to check up on that. I would prefer if staff here would do it, then it would be a different one than staff from another. Is that fair? Ask.
Oh,
You're,
Sorry, if you can just be specific. what you're
Sorry, yeah.
asking.
sorry, I just missed that request. My apologies.
Currently, the CAO of the county is part of the reporting salary. And I don't know if the contract is, I don't think it is. I think that is that not in camera?
No, the contract was signed in camera, but I think some municipalities do make it public. I think it just depends. That is in my HR file though, with the county right now, so I'm not sure.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure about what M's are W8 Housing Act.
The actual contract may, or
sorry,
are you looking
yeah,
for the
no,
actual just person?
I wasn't asking to see a contract or to find out what their salary is or anything like that. I was just curious who
The
the
name.
name of the person
Yeah.
was.
So I don't know.
That's honestly, it doesn't even,
Just
really
bring it up at the
matter.
next
I
meeting, 'cause I'm
was just
pretty
curious.
sure it was going to get announced in website on WHMB. There was some concerns brought up at the last meeting on what is public and what is.
okay. It's totally, I honestly only asked for personal interest, just,
okay.
I can retract my question. It doesn't
It will
matter.
Be on the website. Okay. Because the interim CAO is they're intern. So it's still an employee CAO, still reports to the CAO. So it's not public who works under the CAOs, but it might be on the website. Lots of people know who it is, but I don't want to make it public in here. Okay? Sorry, I'll tell you after the meeting.
It was just a question, honestly.
Could I ask you just move your microphone closer so everybody can hear a little better? Yeah. Go ahead.
And I was just wondering with WHMB, there was a letter sent with some information that we were requesting. Do you know if that's, with all this CAO stuff, is it still coming or is it, do you know, have you?
Board
Talked
said
about it?
they would discuss it, I think, in the last letter you got back. They haven't discussed it further the last meeting.
Perfect. There's a motion on the floor to accept as information.
My,
Yeah, your report, yes. Any other questions? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor? And that's carried. Councillor Kester, you had another thing with 7.6.1.
yeah, it says here joint meeting with Countess Strathmore. I was hoping to get these other motions passed and we would have a partnership meeting like we had in the past. I would not prefer a joint meeting, so I would defer this motion.
Okay,
I won't make it at this time.
no action taken there. Okay. We'll move to 7.5, Division 4 Council Report. Mr. Clayton.
I got to read it to see what I actually did in the last week.
Okay.
But October 24th swearing in ceremony, 27th, the virtual course. And that was actually a very good little course. I enjoyed it. Well, I can't say I enjoyed it. It was a lot of information. So much appreciated. And then the council orientation training that we had on the 28th. I'd like to move my report as presented.
Thank you. Any questions? Glad to hear that the Meeting 101 course, it's interesting to, some of us have taken a version of it a few times. You always grab something new, but with the new counselors, it's I think it's really important to show where the municipal government starts and where the provincial starts and the federal starts. That's really important to see that right from the start. I wish we could, I know with some of our fellow counselors, talking about the public needs to be aware of some of that, where our roles are. And that's something that we should maybe try to do in the future, but.
I think that would be a very good point to know what you can and cannot discuss and when you can do it.
Sure. Motions on the floor. Any questions? I will call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Move on to Division 3.
Yes, my report is been handed out. It was pretty much the same. We did the ASB conference, and there were, it was a good conference. It was done at Cypress Hills, or Elkwater. And there was 2 resolutions put forward from the ag and the ag boards. One was on the 2% liquid strychnine. The other one was to exempt agriculture equipment and vehicles from emissions of nitrogen oxides. And that was those 2. Then there was a joint project done with Stranmore Farms NWAD project that I attended. It's a ribbon cutting. The Ag Society AGM, MPC, the ag meeting with DEMS on the 15th, Speargrass AGMs, and we had the organizational meeting. I did miss the 28th of the council orientation, missed putting it down. But I also, with the minis 101, I wanted to bring up, there was a really good clip in there, and I don't know if we can grab it, but it was what the roles of the federal government were, the roles of the provincial government, and roles of municipal government. And it's just 1 page, and if we could actually get that clip somehow and push that on social media. Through the campaign, I found out they really need to understand what roles are there and who they belong to. It just helps with people's frustrations. And with that, I'll move my report as presented.
Thank you, Councillor Bigger. Any questions for Councillor Bigger? If not, thank you. You're very busy, obviously, so good to see. I'll call the question. All in favor? And that's carried. We'll move on to Division 2. Mr. Hebbs.
Thanks, guys. On October 24th, I was here at the swearing in ceremony and the organizational meeting. On October 27th, I did take the day-long virtual course at Munis 101 EOEP. I'll echo other comments, how good that course seemed to be. I actually took like 4 or 5 pages of notes and then went back and just kind of ran through them. And so it is a very good course, and glad I took it. Then we were here the next day on the 28th for the council orientation and training. And then I was going to just do a quick summation of what I heard on the campaign trail while I'm here. So there was kind of 8 issues. When I went and talked to people, I had a binder and, you know, I just kind of give a little platform and then just asked if they had any questions. And it was interesting that I would say that a large portion of the people I spoke to were quite happy with how the county had been operated. I think that, you know, sometimes when, you know, when emotions get running or this or that, we forget that by and large, the ratepayers were fairly happy with the way things had gone. That's so what I got isn't really a list of complaints. It's just a list of stuff that people notice and have mentioned. But I think it's very clear to say that most people just stand by and, oh, like, you know, it's pretty good. Keep my taxes low and see ya. You know, so anyhow, I'll start with the smallest responses I got. And there was actually a couple guys that run small businesses out there. So they're just noting commercial taxes, right? And another interesting thing that you hear so many different stuff, like it was fascinating and humbling, and I appreciate those people. You know, there was just some thought that, and maybe these are some of the people that are the longer term residents of the county, but they were wondering, you know, what the ratio of Wheatland County to, you know, other municipalities, like how many people drive from Calgary that are our staff, right? And I just pointed out all the time that I think that any organization has to try to pick the best quality person, you know, whether they're from Nunavut or Alaska or Wheatland County, right? So that was good. Strychnine gopher poison came up, and I've got a motion for that later, but certainly some of the ag people, and it's surprising, even some of the acreage people are like, you know, the gophers are around my yard and causing trouble, and could you please? And I'm like, that's actually a federal thing, but as a municipality, we will get it back on the, we'll get it back on a more formal request to try to get it looked at. There's really only 2 provinces in Canada use it. Another question, and now we're starting to get into people that had more feedback, and, you know, there is some concerns about how many acreages there is in Wheatland County. You know, whether you know, it's a legitimate people's concerns, and it's farmers that have concerned about it, and it's actually acreage guys. They're like, I came out here and bought my little piece of heaven 20 years ago. So if you put an acreage in beside me, I'm moving. You know, I'm like, I don't know if that's the majority, but I respect your vote and your opinion. As I say, that the higher I get here, the you know, the more feedback I got. And one of the things I got feedback on, and I know it's a sensitive issue and it's a human resources issue, but I heard it on the back stoop, and that's remote work, right? Like it's a bone of contention for a fair amount of our ratepayers. And that also is, you know, country residential and, you know, base farm guys alike. You know, guy says, I was, you know, had a dry spring. So we get one kind of wet day. So I run to town with my permits, and the gal's working remotely and she can't sign it. And I know we could do it online, and he knows that too, but the next day he's back farming, you know. So acreages or remote work, sorry, is an issue. Taxes, you know, of course, just a generalization. Everybody would like to see their taxes stay low. And some of this stuff, because I went around twice and talked to so many people, it ebbed and flowed a little bit with what some of the county issues were. So actually transparency started out at like number 6 and it ended up number 2. And that was just based on some stuff in paper, and, you know, and there had been some people mention it earlier, but by the time, and I'm just doing the numbers, right? Like, so that's what the people are telling me. One thing, and I heard this a lot, you guys, is that they don't like us councillors bickering, right? They want to see us, like, I heard it from a lot of people, right? Like, I think, like, it has to be said, and we got to believe it. Like, they're the people we're serving, and they're like, you know, if you want to fight with the city, you know, not everybody kind of hates Calgary, right? And they're okay with that, right? But you don't fight with another municipality. You know, let's try to get along better with Strathmore and quit fighting with each other. I heard that loud and clear. And on that, I would like to move that my thing gets adopted as read. Thank you.
Your report be Accepted as presented. Thank you. Any discussion, questions for Counselor Habs? Go ahead. Microphone.
Not so much question for Counselor Habs, but you brought up a good subject on the campaign trail. We heard this and that, and you documented it. I was just curious if staff set aside any time, would that be to hear from the rest of the councillors and their concerns from the county, or we do that through strategic planning where it's more written on a board, or how are we going to deal with that? Give it any thought yet?
Yeah, so through the chair, it can be either in the public meeting or it should be a strategic planning as well. So we have scheduled a strategic planning session. However, I think that some councillors might not be able to make that time and date. So that's just something that we'll have to just revisit. It should be done in early January kind of thing, just so the council has an opportunity to get all their thoughts on paper and all their paper thoughts onto combined paper for everyone. So we can get that one sorted out for council.
Okay, so I would strongly suggest any councillors can't be here to have it written down so it can be presented on your behalf. Okay, thanks. Thanks for bringing that up.
You know, I would just like to reiterate that, you know, most ratepayers, you know, thought things were quite well managed, right? Like, you know, but they did have these concerns. And as I got higher up that list, the concerns got louder. But by and large, I think people were, you know, I would not want to come across as being critical. I just wanted to come across as what I heard.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I do think that we did this before, 4 years ago, is inviting other councils in and on a more social. And I think that's a good start with all our surrounding municipalities. Thank you.
For myself, I've already reached out to the mayor of Strathmore and talked to him and said that we'd like to have a council to council meeting at some point in the future. That's already in the cards. I would like to have a letter get a letter approved from council. Sounds like it may happen later today, something that we can sign as a formal request and we can get staff to set something up and move forward. Yeah, so any other discussions? Questions on the floor? I will call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Move on to 7.2, Division 1. Deputy Reeves report. No, council report, sorry.
No, just through
I forgot about
chair. The 7.3.1 was added to the agenda. It was the reinstatement of 2% liquid strychnine.
My apologies. Yes, 7.3.1 from Councillor Hebs.
Just one thing to note as well is that administration put a recommendation down for Councillor Hebs. However, I chatted with Councillor Hebs this morning, and I think the letter, just on our discussion, should be addressed to a federal minister as well. However, I'll let Councillor Hebs correct that one just the way he wants it, and we'll go from there. So I'll let you present your subject. Thank you.
Okay, so, you know, we did hear that, you know, and we all know it, right? Or certainly the agriculture side of it knows that we need 2% strychnine back because there's doesn't seem to be an appetite in the R&D side of things to create something, you know, that that might be more palatable to the environmental side of our life where we live, and it's important. But it's and there's really only two provinces that use the 2% strychnine, right? It's only Alberta and Saskatchewan. And maybe, you know, the feds can, you know, McDonald can make it so that you can't use it in a county near a burrowing owl or some such a thing, right? Some of our northern counties here in Alberta don't even have it, but I still think we need to get it on our RMA thing so we can banter it around with those guys, because there's you know, there's pretty well peer-reviewed stuff out there that says it's, you know, somewhere around $800 million damage post the elimination of 2% strychnine versus pre. Now, saying that, some of that might be the natural ebb and flow of, of the gopher, right? But I think we need it. And I think if we come across as saying like, yeah, truly the counties around the burrowing owls, or if we come across as somewhat, amenable, and yet we need it. I think we need a firm statement. So my motion would be is that we send it to our MLA, Chantel DeYoung, send it to Honorable Sigurdsson, our provincial ag minister, send it to our MP David Bexty, and send it to, I believe his name is Heath McDonald. Sorry, I wrote it down and I misplaced my sheet, but I think his name is Heath McDonald, is the federal agriculture minister. And I would be open to if anybody else knows of somebody else we think we should send that to. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe our Ag Service Board Chair might have a little information on this as well. There's been a number of times it's been lobbied for.
Yeah,
And I'm not saying this is by any means inappropriate. It's just there's been so much gone on that you're probably not aware of, but I'll let Shannon speak to.
no, I appreciate the motion for sure. I think any opportunity we have of writing letters in support of this. Just some background, I guess, a year ago, November 7th, 2024, the Ag Service Board sent a letter to RJ Sigurdsson and CC'd our MP for the area, the MLA for all four of our areas, and we did not do it to the federal though, so that's a very good idea. There has been lots of conversation I've seen on social media that the federal PMRA is considering having some emergency use of it, which is a start. And but I think we need to keep the pressure on. And he was quoted as saying he would consider it or he would do it, but he hasn't so far. So I think our MLA is working very hard to push him to take some action. I've seen some more correspondence going back from provincial to federal to say, okay, well, we need action because we need to get a supply if we want to have this available to farmers in the spring. So I wholeheartedly support your motion. I think it's an excellent idea. There is some motion, some movement on it, but I do think anything we can do is going to help. So thank you for bringing that forward.
I just wanted to, so we do have four MLAs. So if we should send it to all of our MLAs, what do you think? Is that amendable?
CEO Henderson.
Maybe through the chair, maybe a suggestion would be maybe to CC our local MLAs on the letter, and then it could be sent off to Minister McDonald and Minister Sigurdsson. And I'm trying to think what would be the best for our MP David Bexty, if you CC or directly a letter to him.
Probably a letter to him.
Letter to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Councillor Clayton.
I totally agree with what you're saying. I've been fighting gophers almost as long as I've lived. I think we should also include the premier on that list. We've noticed an awful lot of the times just going to your MLA misses the top end of the house. And I think if you're going to get any action, you've got to have agreement there too. Thank you.
Good discussion. Something I was just wondering, because we all sit on the Ag Service Board now currently. So I think it also would probably dovetail in with what's already going on there. I just want to make sure we're not going to overstep.
Oh, I don't think so. Like Councillor Bigger mentioned in her report, there is another resolution at the ASB provincial level to advocate for 2% strychnine. That the ASB, provincial ASB, has had a resolution in front of it to advocate for that for since 2019 or even before. It's been forever. It's always on their radar. They're always advocating for it, but and they will continue to. Us sending another letter is just gravy. So I think it's absolutely a good thing to do.
Good discussion. Is there a motion on the floor yet? I believe it has.
Just because the motion did change, perhaps administration can read the motion
Absolutely.
for consideration by Councillor Hebbs. So what we kind of gather from this is that the recommendation from administration would be that council direct administration to draft a letter of support to be sent to the Minister of Agriculture and Irrigation, R.J. Sigerson, MP David Bexkey, Federal Agricultural Minister Health McDonald, Premier Daniel Smith, and CC local MLAs advocating for the reinstatement of 2% liquid strychnine for the control of rodents for agricultural producers. So realistically, Councillor Hebbs could make that motion, just if you want to just say, yeah, make that motion, and you'd probably be okay.
Motion to approve the letter as presented. Any further discussion? Good to have the feedback from the residents. It was an awesome time with elections, and you get all these things that bring up that have been worked on over time, but yeah, and it's definitely. So I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Division 1 Councillor report, or sorry, Deputy Reeves. No, maybe Councillor still on this one. Yes. Go ahead.
My report is on page 73 in the package. Most everything has been discussed. Yeah, just kudos to our administration on running the election, particularly Shanna Pearson and Vinod Jazra, returning officer and deputy returning officer. Must have been a ton of work, and I'm sure a lot of long hours went into it. So thank you so much. With that, I'll move my report as presented. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you. Any questions on the motion or to the presentation? Seeing none, hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? And that's carried. Move on to my report as Deputy Reeve. It is on page, where did I lost it here? Page 72 of the package. Basically, everything's been covered. I will touch base on the Drumheller District Solid Waste Board meeting. We passed the 2026 budget and actually got our 2024 audit done, which was we were behind a year or two because of mostly budgeting on what our budget was to do the audits and what was coming in. There was a big adjustment. I think a lot of our boards have seen that where the costs had gone up substantially. So of course we went out to find somebody else, and now we're brought up to speed. So that is set up forward, which is great. And I don't anticipate any major changes in our costs for our budgeting cycle for the county. Council training and organizational meeting. I was chosen to be Reeve, which I'm here now, and I thank everybody for that and thank the public. And I echo Deputy Reeve's update about the election process. It was really nice to see. Amazing to see the staff running everything. It seemed to be a lot smoother. I was here on election night when the votes were coming in. Everybody was so professional. It was just wonderful to see. So I will move my report as presented. Any questions? Go ahead.
Just a question to staff. During the election, quite a few people put up signs. After the election, not everybody took their signs down. Now I know I lost signs. I don't know if anybody took them or if the wind blew them away. But some are still stuck in the road ditch. Is there any, what do we do about it?
Yeah, so through the chair, there is a requirement for the people who ran for office to take their own signs down. I haven't have had any complaints specifically about areas. If there are any, please just let administration know and we'll follow up the candidate. Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I would echo that. I have seen signs still up and it's probably just a sign of disrespect to the voters. That's just a comment. Scott, is it okay to ask, like on the DDSWMA, you know, the budget on that thing, like maybe just as a public, so people don't have to go and read through it, like that's a pretty big portion of public funds out there. Do you got just a rough idea what that budget is a year? Thank you.
Off the top of my head, I don't have the exact number, but I can explain how it works. So the board is a partnership with many urban and rural counties and towns and villages. And basically we run the operation of a landfill and the haul, well, not really the hauling. Yes, the hauling of it on the transitor sites. So that all gets broken down to a per capita cost. And it's been in the neighborhood of $8 for quite some time. No, I'm not saying that right. Anyways, the per capita cost has not changed substantially over time. So we really struggle hard to keep that. Of course, with running it's a business. So there's money coming in from private sides, and all that kind of that stuff. So we're balancing it. And also with, I can definitely get you a copy of the budget so you can see it firsthand. I just don't want to quote any numbers off the top of my head. I'm sorry, I should have been more prepared, but it's something that we've always had a board member on. So, and I've been the vice chair of that organization for a year now. So, yeah. So hopefully that answers your question. I can definitely get you the information you're looking for specifically. So.
Well, you know, I just don't want to burn up too much of everybody's time, but, you know, I think it's interesting that probably most of the residents in the county don't even know how many solid waste transfer sites we have and how vital they are. Like, so that, you know, DDSWMA board and function is a big deal, and it is appreciated.
And also you'll see in our budgets within the county, the operations of those sites fall in the county. So within our own budgetary purpose, and that is a choice that council has made to not subsidize, but operate them at no cost to the taxpayer. It is a cost to the taxpayer, but it's just paid for within the budget. So. Any other questions? Go ahead.
I just have a comment. So when you first started on council, I remember this 8 years ago, there's an abbreviation or an acronym for everything, absolutely everything. So I'm just wondering if we could try to just be aware and try to actually save the acronym but exactly explain what it is just for the next little while before you get used to it. When I was campaigning, I noticed myself going blah, 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 blah. And they're like, you know, have no idea what I'm talking about. So I had to make a conscious effort to actually say what those acronyms meant. And I think it's a good practice for the newer ones coming on. Thank you.
Very good point. And actually, if there's ever any questions you have, ask me here, ask me privately. Doesn't matter to me. I'll answer the phone 7 days a week, 10 o'clock at night. Does not bother me at all. Information there's never a bad question to me. Go ahead, Mr. Clayton.
Yeah, Councillor. The one question I've got is how do you get information to the Drumheller group operating? One of the things in our area that I noticed was really different this year and caused a lot of problems to a lot of farmers was the fact that you couldn't take your chemical jugs back to the thing. You had to take them back to whoever supplied you the chemicals, which was, you know, 4 or 5 different people maybe. And it just caused the local farmers a headache not having the system to be able to bring your jugs back one location. So.
Great question. I think that's something council strive with for a long time is getting the information out to the ratepayers about what actually is out there. And we've tried through social media. Drumheller Solid Waste has tried through a lot of things, but definitely we can always look at better ways. That's a complex, not really a complex issue, but it was a provincial through Clean Farms, I believe, took that away. and it wasn't even anything operational choice that we could do. But definitely we can get that information out there again, but there's always seems, no matter how much you do, there's always somebody that didn't get that information. And we try as much as we can, but any ideas, I think we looked at our media releases and how we get information out recently. Of course, we use newspapers, we use social media, we use all kinds of things, and trying to get it out sometimes, and educating our fellow counselors is a big part of it too. So if someone asks the questions. Any other questions? Go ahead.
It's a bigger problem than you realize. There's a lot of farmers out there that buy their chemical in bulk, and it might come all the way from Saskatchewan, Manitoba. Where do they return it to? No dealers here or take it. Waste transfer sites don't take it. There's only one place for it to go, it's where it traditionally went. So it's time that somebody comes up with an idea. I know they took it away from us, but there's always.
Noted. I
We'll
will.
have to solve the problem before we can inform the ratepayers.
That is noted. I'll bring it up at their next meeting and see what, if there's anything that we can do. Of course, that has budget implications every time you do something with staff. Definitely we can talk about it, and we could probably talk about it at ASB as well, if there's other concerns from producers. Anything further? I have a motion on the floor. All in favor? That's carried. We'll move on to 8.1, Chief Administrative Officer Report.
Good morning, Council. Brian from Administration. On page 81 of your agenda package is the CAO monthly report. So for the new councilors, you'll notice that each one of our departments will present a monthly report at the start of the month. It does only happen once a month, so just it kind of gives council a general overview of the operations and our update to council of what's going on. So attached to the CAO report is something called the Council Resolution Tracker. The Council Resolution Tracker has been a report that administration has voluntarily completed for a couple of years, maybe two and a half years or so. And what we do is that we organize any resolution that requires an action from administration that needs to be completed by administration. And what it does is it provides council just a glare, or I guess a update of where we're at with certain things. So some resolutions have not been addressed. Sometimes it's timing, sometimes just the party is not available to be done. However, what we do on this report itself is that we always have I'll go through each column. So the meeting date, that is just the date of the meeting itself. That could be a council meeting, it could be an organizational meeting, it could be a committee of the whole meeting. So any of the meetings there will be put there, or the meeting date, sorry. The council resolution number itself is just the number that will track back to the minutes. So the minutes are the documents that are done after every meeting, and it accounts for every council vote. So not every item will be on the council resolution tracker. Administration tries our best to make sure that every resolution that does require an administrative action gets on there. So a good example today, a resolution that won't be on the resolution tracker is the resolution to accept the consent agenda as presented. So there is no further action required from administration. The first bylaw reading on the procedure bylaw, that won't be on the council resolution tracker. There's no action required from administration. However, some resolutions that will be on the resolution tracker from today's meeting that I can think of will be direct administration to edit section 16 of the procedure bylaw. So that was the only bylaw that council considered today. Also, the letter of support that council authorized administration to prepare on council's behalf. So those two will end up on the council resolution tracker, and then we'll provide an update at the next council meeting where those are at with council. So there are some things in this council resolution tracker that go back to actually the previous term. So 2020 is the longest outstanding one. there's things on here that have been worked on and sometimes it just can't go forward or can't be deemed complete by administration. There have been some resolutions that have deemed frustrated by administration. However, before they fall off the resolution tracker, we'll always bring them back to council. So anything here in yellow is deemed ongoing. Anything in green is deemed complete. So if you go to page 89 of your agenda package, so there's 2 resolutions on here that are deemed complete, and it was to set up 2 meetings or set up a meeting with the RCMP. So we had requested that at the RMA convention coming up. So we did send an email off to Staff Sergeant Wilgosh, who was actually here at the swearing-in ceremony, the guy dressed up in the RCMP uniform. And then there were some HR policies that were also amended at the previous council meeting, so those were also completed as well. However, anything else on this has been put on the resolution tracker. And yeah, so it's all on there. So this report is just an informational report for council. If you do see something on here that you think has not been completed and it's marked off as green, here's a great opportunity for you to mention to administration that it should be pulled off the resolution tracker. And there is 7 people reviewing the report, so hopefully someone catches it for sure. Administration does do our best just to try to make sure that we get that report as polished off as possible to present to council. It's also a really good tool for the public to see as well. So of course our public packages are public information. So the public can also kind of take a glimpse of where administration is with certain resolutions as well. So the CAO monthly report, it's pretty brief. I don't typically go through it line by line. I think administration comes in with the expectation that council has read the package in full. So we won't read through every line item. If there's anything super important that we think that should be highlighted to council, we'll highlight it during the meeting. However, I think we're just kind of waiting for the dust to settle on the municipal election, which is good. Council's taken their training, which is great. And the report's in the package. So there is the resolutions, as always, are right here. The recommendations from administration. So at the top of the top of the report, there's 2 resolutions there. One to accept the October 2025 CAO report as information, and then a second one just confirming that council accepts the council resolution trackers information. So if there's any questions about this report at all, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, CAO Henderson. Any questions? Councillor Clayton?
I'm not sure if this is the place to ask, but when I read a report like this, I have no idea what the resolutions are. Number one, or how to find them. And that's something you can help me out with a lot. And I go to say something like February 21, 23, where you're talking about ongoing hydrogen report or whatever the heck it is. I'm on the hydrogen hub in the Calgary area. Finished my university course in hydrogen. I've been in hydrogen for 1,000 years, and I was just kind of wondering what it's all about. That's all. Sorry.
Yes. So through the chair, it's an excellent opportunity to ask at any time where a resolution is or the status of it. So this is actually the perfect opportunity. We do recognize as well that there are some new councillors on council that some of these resolutions you might look at them and say, what has been going on for the last 4 years and why has it not been completed? So our general manager of community development services, Sherry, has been working closely with the hydrogen hub as well. It is ongoing. Perhaps Ms. Barris can provide a little bit of an update on that resolution.
Good morning. Through the Reeve to council, we are working through a grant that we received through Prairies Can, and are working with the Calgary Economic Group for the Calgary Regional Hydrogen Hub. And out of that, there is a portion for Wheatland alone to look at our own opportunities as a producer of hydrogen and Calgary as a recipient. So we are in the final stages. We will be holding a stakeholder meeting, and we're required under the task that we do, a local stakeholder meeting at the end of November for all of the producers that might have had interviews with Transition Accelerator, who is writing the document for the county. We should be wrapping up, and council will see a final draft probably in the new year. And we will probably do one more stakeholder meeting finalization in 2026, but our portion of that hydrogen hub project will come to a conclusion probably the first quarter of 2026.
Yeah, to Reeve, if there's any hand I can give you on that hydrogen side, I sure will. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm thinking maybe a committee of the whole or something in the future. We can, some of these projects that are ongoing, we did a brief, kind of skipped over the top of them with our training. You know, if there's anything that anybody sees, we have these committee to whole meetings where it's a good chance for it to discuss these ongoing projects and definitely bring everybody up to speed. Some of these will sit dormant for a while. At least we think we're dormant and staff are working with them. We delegate and they update us later and could be a year later and you're kind of going, oh yeah, I forgot about that. But they're always, yeah, so it's definitely, and then possibility I'm hearing on how do you research council motions? I do believe with the new search engine on the county website, if you put that CM on there, it'll come up with, because it's AI almost, right? Like,
Yeah, through the chair, that will be coming. It's not in there yet, but just as a tip, the date on the far left side is the council meeting, and we have our YouTube channel. And for the last few years, we have all our meetings in YouTube. Of course, then you would have to find where that discussion happened, and of course, the resolution itself is there. But just to get some context, but yeah, that is coming.
for sure, it's always, and of course, there's minutes too, but minutes don't show you the discussion. So there's definitely, there's a lot of information out there and trying to go back. And I remember when I first got elected, how do you find out, get up to speed on where things are at? So great questions. Anything else? Looking for a motion?
I'll move that council accepts the October 2025 Chief Administrative Officer report as information.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. There's a second motion as well for dealing with the council. Go ahead.
I move that council accepts the November 4th, 2025 council resolution trackers information.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? And that's carried. I've had a request for a break. We will recess until 10:15. That work for everyone? Okay. Bio break. We're on a
Mute off.
8.12 key legislative dates.
Yes, good morning, Council. Brian from administration. On page 90 of your agenda package is a report called Key Legislative Dates Calendar. So Municipal Affairs provides administration a calendar quarterly of key dates that municipalities should be aware of. There is no action required by council. This actually, the more I think of it, probably could just be included in council correspondence. The reason why it's not is because it's not addressed to even council. There's no action required. However, this is a really good report just to understand exactly the central RMA general meeting schedule, and as well as just the key municipal dates. So these are dates that are everyone in the province must follow. So they're all here, and administration does follow them. So some of them you'll see yourselves. So the election day, that's on here. So October 20th. The announce the official results of the election. Last day to hold an organizational meeting, so November 3rd. I'm just going to go through some of these as an example. Last day to hold council orientation training on the first set of topics. So that's what you guys did receive at that Munis 101. So this is just surely for information. No action required by council. If there's any questions about this report, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions on the information presented? And I believe that staff had said there's no really motions needed. Do you want to accept his information?
Council could accept this information, or council could just maybe direct to include in council correspondence moving forward, or council can just choose to accept his information, whatever council wants to do.
Council's wishes. Go ahead. Microphone, please.
I see it starts on October 1st. I'm thinking there's way more, probably starts in January 1st. I don't want to document stuff with the whole year on it. But could I have one for, it's the 1st of November now, could I have one for December? And eventually I'll get the whole year, but 2 months in advance, I think. Because that way I'll have,
Yes.
after 2 months, I'd have the current one in my hand.
Yes, so through the chair, administration, we do publish this in the first agenda as soon as we receive it. So it is just a timing thing of the province. However, we could go back and just provide historical ones. And a lot of these dates will
Just
be,
moving forward, sometimes.
yeah, what administration can do is we can just circulate these to council as soon as we receive them. And there will be no lapse in the reporting from administration to the council meeting, which would be the only lapse here. We just don't receive them. So this one we may receive, say, September 28th or something along those lines. We just don't receive them very far in advance. However, a lot of these dates are legislated by the Municipal Government Act or the Local Elections Authorities Act. The Local Elections Authorities Act you probably won't see for another 4 years. However, we can just send them out as soon as we receive them, just for all of council to see.
Because sometimes it's nice to know when you have to have your budgets done and your audited statements and how you have to report them to. I forget all the dates, but I know they are essential dates for sure.
Yeah, they are. And it's funny because the audited financial statement, I just know this off the top of my head, but it's due April 30th to the province. But council probably wouldn't receive it until the day of that first meeting in April, when historically Wheatland does present our financial statements to council that day. So, and that's even if we get it into the package in time too, because sometimes we'll miss the cutoff date as well. So we go right to the next thing. So we'll just circulate them to council as soon as we do receive them. And that'll cut any lapse off for that communication.
Or a suggestion would just even include it in the CAO report. It just doesn't attach like another page of this is the month, this is what's coming up. Yeah. For everyone, because we should all be reading that. I see no action from council. So we move on to 8.13, attendance at EOEP course.
Yes, and I did chat with Council or Deputy Reeve Laprise, and she did say that she would address this report. Thank you.
Go ahead.
So this is a timely course that's being, just was recently created by the EOEP. At the end of our Munis 101, they did put a plug in for it that it's a new course that they're offering. It actually comes at a really good time for us. And I thought if any of us wanted to go, I think that'd be a really great thing. I would be interested. I have heard from Councillor Bigger and Reeves Clausen that they would be interested. If there's anybody else, I would support whoever wanted to go. So just have a quick conversation and then maybe a motion to send whoever is interested to go a day early to our RMA conference and attend the course there. So open it up for discussion if anybody else is interested.
Great, thank you.
Just wondering if that's a problem with our rooms.
So through the chair, we actually had this discussion just at administration, and we just need to know right away. And I think that they can accommodate. We just need to let them know ASAP. So we're just hoping to get something from council who wants to attend, so we can extend the room booking to I think Sunday night, and then it goes on Monday.
You'd have to be there Sunday.
You'd have to go up Sunday for sure because it's first thing in the morning.
The other thing I would recommend at the end of the Munis 101 course, they did say that they hadn't had a lot of uptake on this course. We should probably make sure that it is still, I noticed on the website, it's still there as something that you can register for, but we should check that too before we book extra rooms, but extra night of rooms, but.
So suggested motion would be put a motion on the floor saying whoever wants to attend and deadline for let staff know would be tomorrow. It's tomorrow did we need it today or tomorrow or?
Today? Through the chair, they want an answer this morning.
Okay.
So maybe just a show of hands who chooses to attend. Councillor Larson. I think
8
it's
hours.
just a
Full day.
full
It's from
day.
9 till 4.
Yes.
Count-
We'd go up Sunday and then it'd be the full day Monday on training and then go to the conference from there on.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Just the motion from council.
yes, for sure. Go ahead.
So I'll make a motion that council approve the attendance. Shall I say, of each individual?
Yeah.
And is it everybody? I don't think, no, with the exception of Councillor Clayton.
I think through the chair, I think the typical way that council does do those is just do a resolution for all of council to attend. And then if, I believe that one councillor may not be able to attend. So just then that council would just let us know that they cannot attend but it is open for them to
That's the
attend.
best way.
Okay,
yes.
so I'll move that council approve the attendance of Wheatland County Council at the EOEP course CAO employment on November 17th, 2025 in Edmonton, Alberta during the 2025 RMA Fall Convention.
Thank you. Motion on the floor. Any questions? I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Move on to 8.21 Corporate and Financial Services Report.
Good morning, Council. Corey from Administration here to report, to present the Corporate and Financial Services Report for October. I don't have too much to add to the report, but I did want to point out a couple of things. One thing is just down here is the work that IT has been doing on all of our remote sites, and very proud of the work that they've been doing, putting things in a standardized format. It's much more supportable, it's much more secure, and it's protected. And that continues. We're also looking at doing similar stuff with even our building next year, which will be on the next year's budget. Up here on taxes, I kind of just skipped it. A lot of effort was conducted by the teams to discuss with residents who were in arrears on their taxes, who were up for auction, and all but one has either organized a payment plan or have paid their taxes up. So that's been great work. Finally, I just wanted to touch on the asset management policy. So that's something that's been on here for a little bit. We're looking at presenting a updated asset management policy here in December. And we're hoping to just sort of do a brief overview of the current asset management master plan, just as a refresher with that. And that concludes my report. Staff are available for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Council's wishes. Go ahead.
I move that council accept the corporate and financial service report for October 2025 as information.
Thank you for the motion. Any discussion, questions? I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. 8.22. Welcome.
Morning, Council. Joel Chesson here from Administration, the Manager of Financial Services, in case there's a couple new people here and aren't familiar with. So I'm here to present the utility account refunds for October 2025. There's just a quick summary on this. There's a couple of resolutions here. So there's a corporate and financial services policy for refunds or rebates of overpayments on utility accounts. And anything that's a refund that's over $1,000 requires as per Resolution 1, approval from Council prior to proceeding with the refund. And then the other part of that policy is just anything under $1,000 is just brought for information purposes, just for transparency for Council's review. You'll see that as outlined in the tables that are included in the package. Table 1 being those that were over $1,000 and Table 2 being the ones that were under $1,000. We also wanted to include some context, just as a summary. We have a utility repair list that administration, as well as the contractor and public works team, are actively working to reduce. And you can see the reduction from January 2025 to September 2025. And I believe those numbers were about 86 accounts in January, reduced to 44 by September. So administration is working hard on getting these accounts fixed up. That gives you some context of kind of the work that we're doing. That concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Laprice, and then you.
I have a couple of questions. So can you explain to me, so overestimation due to no reads, do these meters get read like a radio frequency, or do you have to go into the person's house to read them? Or
Yeah, so they are read by radio frequency. So essentially our contractor has the device and they drive by the residences. So a bit more context on that. What we do is we don't add them to our repair list, so to speak, until after 3 months, because we do find sometimes maybe the read doesn't get picked up. And so we have maybe a month or two with no reads, so to speak, but then it might work the next month. So in the interim, we'll do averages for that 2 or 3 month period. But then if we notice a consistent trend, then they go onto our repairs list, at which time we prioritize them based on other criteria.
okay, that makes sense. Second question, just given correspondence from the public, can you tell us how our late payment penalties compare to other municipalities? Have we ever done an analysis of that?
We have done analysis like that, through the REEF. I'm not sure if that's something that administration would perhaps bring back in the next corporate update report, or with some detail.
Sure, that'd be great. Thank you.
Councillor Kester, did you have a question?
I think previous counselor alluded to it. But everyone got an email here from a ratepayer with the same question. I am hoping that he is allowed in the next public presentation meeting, or
Yeah,
let's leave it at that and let hear the answer. No, that's all I was gonna say. I was hoping staff can enlighten me if this person is coming to the next public presentation meeting, or how do we answer this person?
so through the REEF, the person did make a claim to the Alberta Utilities Commission about some processes, and I have to go back and review the exact case. However, that was addressed by the Alberta Utilities Commission. And so that was done, and that result was sent back to council. The same individual did also put a request into the Privacy Commission against the county as well, and that was also addressed by the Privacy Commission as well. So I can share that result with council as well. However, if the person does have something that fits the bylaw for the Public Presentation Committee, of course, that's a great avenue for it. However, in the bylaw, there is very specific wording about things that the committee should hear, including, things in the community. It's not necessarily meant for grievances or things that council can't rule on, such as Alberta utility case rulings. So if it fits within the bylaw, perhaps whoever the next CIO is can determine that result, and that person may be able to present to the next Public Presentation Committee. Thank you.
Okay, the reason why I bring it up, we have some new counselors, and I myself might be tempted to answer the email, but I don't know everything that's going on. I don't know, right? So I'll depend on staff to fill me in, and at some time, because I know what's going on there, but he's brought it current again with a new email to new counselors. I think it should be detailed again to council, that everybody knows what's going on. Is that fair to the new counselors, or?
I agree. It's hard to, for everybody, they need the context, so that information package that we've seen before, send it around, everybody has any questions, why things are the way they are. There was avenues that, this taxpayer, because it's a utility, went through a different avenue to basically dispute some things. They ruled on it. We can't change that ruling. But it all revolves around meters that are out of service, meters that aren't reading, and we're going to get the information back as to are these rates fair, which is fine. Those are things that we can look at. But I just want to stress that utilities within municipal government is always, I've been involved in this for a long time, and when it affects somebody personally, they think it's a political thing, and I've always strove, and maybe not all councils will agree with me, to keep it as a business. It is no different. When I look at utilities, it's no different as your gas or your electrical. And if you keep the politics out of it and let the rules that we set out and the policies that we set out follow them, it follows a course. And we can change those rules and policies, and I think that's where we should focus on if there is some issues with that. And staff will bring back if it's within the realm of the appropriate fees and what we've done so far. So, go ahead.
Yeah, I wasn't quite finished.
Oh, sorry.
This is, right now, his letter was very specific. But that doesn't mean you're going to get a letter on something else. The thing that we have to realize is you'll be asked a lot of things. And before you answer just about every one of them, you should get a hold of the CAO and try and get a little bit of history on it. Be it utility accounts, be it gophers, be it anything before. And maybe if it warrants the next council meeting or a special meeting or whenever, we can get an update on the information and maybe some history so warranted. Just to lighten your load on your mind when you get letters like this, what you're going to do with them. Because when I think back to my very beginning, I've got to answer this. This is a question from me, right? But there's a lot of pitfalls, and you don't want to say you're going to do something when maybe you can't do it. Maybe it's illegal to do it. Maybe you should find out the history first. It's all I'm saying. Just be careful. Your CAO is the person to ask, and they'll certainly find the answer out for you before you take any action on anything. Thanks. That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you for that. Go ahead.
So I would like to know if when you bring back the report comparing our interest rates for overdue accounts, if you could also bring back, because we don't read wastewater, there's no meters for that, so it's based on your water meter, and we take 75%. Can you see if that's kind of a good practice that's been around for a while, or if that number has changed to, I don't know, 60, 65, 70? I just want to know if that percentage is what is used in its good practice. Thank you.
Anything further?
Do we need a motion to direct administration to do that? Probably.
It would be good, and just
Yes.
for the new council's information, council needs to act by resolution or bylaw. And if council wants to see something like brought back to a future meeting, it's very important to pass a resolution at the council meeting. If not, things sometimes get forgotten, sometimes by council, sometimes by administration. However, if you do include or put forward a resolution from council, it's a great opportunity to track and just make sure that it's on the record. You have asked for that item to be completed or brought back to council for information. Thank you.
So with that being said, would it be appropriate to bring the utility rate bylaw forward? Would that be the proper venue to look at it? It was reviewed not that long ago, but I don't know. Kind of encapsulates all of this.
I don't know. I honestly, I would just move to have them do an analysis of this small portion of it. I think we did just recently review the full bylaw and we were satisfied with it at the time. I think this is just one component that we want to look at. So I'm prepared to make a motion that council ask administration to bring back a comparison of late payment penalties and the percentage of wastewater estimates, allocation estimate to ensure it's in line with other municipalities.
Thank you. Just get a moment. Shanna, are you typing it up for us so we can see it? Perfect. So admin will, for everybody here, it'll come up on the screen. They're sometimes up there, but most of like the screen in front of you, what the motion is. So down at the bottom, number 3 is the one we're dealing with right now. Any discussion on the motion? Questions? I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. We have 2 other motions possible for this topic. Council's wishes. Page 102.
I'll move that council approves the refund of overpayment for $2,360.22 to utility account represented by meter number 1830546,379 and $1,251.22 to utility account represented by meter number 183-143-6191.
Thank you for the motion. Any questions? I just have one question. Approximately how long would these have been inoperable for this to accrue that much?
So through the reeve for those two, I wrote that down here.
And I know it was in the report, most likely, so.
So the average time between the 2 accounts, those ones were quite long. They were 51 months, but there was, so if you calculate the total cumulative volume, it works out to about 7 cubes per month, variance between the actual and the estimate.
And another just brief question, is this a tool utilized to encourage meter replacement? Because I used to do this a long time ago, and I know it's sometimes very difficult to get into a meter that has been out of service for a long period of time. And I know our bylaw, we can actually shut the water off to encourage them to get the meter changed, but I believe this is an encouragement tool as well.
Through the reeve, that is one of the aspects that results from using, say, for example, using community average as an estimate over the long term. That's correct.
Thank you. Motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Call the question. All in favor? That's carried. One other possible motion. Go ahead.
Sorry, I move that council accepts the refunds of credits as information from overpayments totaling $3,283.66 to 5 utility accounts as included in this report.
Thank you for the motion. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. We'll move on to 8.31, Community and Development Services Report.
Good morning, Council. Sherry Bars with administration to provide the October 2025 Community and Development Services update, which is found on page 106 of your agenda package. I don't have anything additional to add at this time and am happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Reports in our agenda. Any questions for staff? Council's wishes. Go ahead.
Move the council accepts the October 2025 Community and Development Services Report as information.
Thank you for the motion. Any discussion? I will call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Move on to 8.32, encroachment agreement. Go ahead.
Good morning, Council. Rachel Hanson-Beaton with Planning and Development Services to present a request for decision that Council approves an encroachment agreement with the landowner of Plan 5459 JK Block B located in the Northwest Quarter, Section 2, Township 24, Range 26, west of the 4th Meridian, to allow an existing well shack and water well to remain within the road plan 5459 JK adjacent to Highway 24, and authorize the Reeve and Chief Administrative Officer to sign the agreement. The site plan can be found on page 120. And there's a picture of the well shed on page 124. A certificate of compliance was requested and a real property report identified 5 buildings which did not have development permits. The development permits were issued for 4 of the buildings as they met the required setbacks. The 5th building, a well shack housing a water well in place since the 1950s that supplies the water to the dwelling, is entirely within the road plan adjacent to Highway 24. Because it is not on title land, a development permit cannot be issued for this structure. Instead, an encroachment agreement is required to allow the well shed and water well to remain on the road allowance, which is under the jurisdiction of the county. The property owners do have plans in the future to build a new well site within the property boundaries, but with the rains this year, they were unable to complete their project. The Municipal Government Act authorizes the municipality to register an encroachment agreement with the registered owner of the parcel of land that adjoins the road that is under the direction, control, and management of the municipality. A caveat shall be registered for the encroachment agreement against the title of the lands where the dwelling is located. Key points from the encroachment agreement have been summarized within the report, including terms of termination, removal, maintenance, risk and liability, insurance, notice of sale, and caveating the agreement. Additionally, a copy of a standard encroachment agreement template is in its entirety is attached to this report. The application was circulated internally and to Alberta Transportation. There were no concerns raised. In conclusion, staff recommendation is that Council approves the encroachment agreement and authorize the Reeve and CAO to sign the agreement. Council has the standard 3 response options to consider found on page 117. And this completes my presentation. We are available for questions if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you. Council questions? Go ahead, Councilor Clayton.
Yeah, I did have a trip up there to have a look at it. It's not, it's a fairly minor problem, but I would support this motion. It's in my area, so do you want me to read?
You could put a motion forward if you wish.
I'd like to put a motion forward that the council approves an encroachment agreement with the landowner of Plan 5459 JK Block B Northwest 2, 24, 26 west of the 4th to allow the existing well shack and water well to remain within the road plan 5459 JK adjacent to Highway 24 and authorize the Reeve and Chief Administration Officer to sign the agreement.
Thank you. Motion's on the floor. Councilor, Deputy Reeve Laprise.
I think Councillor Larson.
Sorry, I did not see you. I'm sorry, I did not see your hand, sir.
So I understand that the MGA allows this, but the question I have is because that's Highway 24, that's a provincial highway. Do we actually have, did we check to make sure we actually have jurisdiction here?
So in the past, the county had taken road widening, so it's actually county land that owns that portion of the road, the Plan 5459 JK. So it is county land.
Okay, so where this shack is actually county owned land.
Correct.
Okay, that was my only question.
Deputy Reeve Laprise.
Just a point of clarification. I noticed that in the Traffic Safety Act and in our Public Works policy, we talk about that it would be terminable on 30 days notice, but we're offering 60 days notice in this case. Is that just to an act of generosity or was it intentional?
Through the Reeve, yes, that is correct.
Okay. And then the second thing I just noticed in the actual encroachment agreement, that point number 3, so I'm looking at page 125. says an improvement owned or that will be installed by the owner being an existing garage and concrete pad. So we probably just want to update that to well shed and well shack and water well.
Through the Reeve, yes, in our generic template, it just has what was on there before, but in the actual one where the people's names will be in, we will make sure it's specific. Thank you.
Perfect.
Any other discussion? Go ahead.
Curious, why does the county own this land? Is it part of the highway right away, or why do we own that strip of land?
Through the Reeve to council, it's a service road, which is why it is under county ownership.
Okay. So we ought to have a service road before they put in the highway type of thing?
All right, through the Reeve, I'm just looking at the map, might help. So there is the road plan for the highway, and then there looks like there's a separate road plan to the side of the highway, which would be a service road, as GM Bears is mentioning.
So it's a service road.
And through the Reeve to council, the service road was put in to provide an actual access so that they had access to the road and not directly onto Highway 24. So it was probably at that time when they built the residence, it was required to provide a service road.
Okay, I'm familiar with how we make them sign a service road that may or may not get built. Okay. So at the time of the Highway 24, it was a requirement that we provide a service road for the highway, I'm thinking.
Through the Reeve to council, that's correct. Which one came first, I would assume the highway was there, and then when the residents came, it was a requirement as a condition of subdivision at that time, or when they needed an approach.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Just curious.
Any other discussion? I just had a question, I guess, to council and to staff. Because there was mention that they might be moving or putting a new well in, should we put a timeline on this and review it in a couple of years, or is that appropriate? Just to encourage them to do that, so we, people always say they're going to do something, doesn't necessarily mean it happens. Because this goes on title. Doesn't matter if they sell it or whatever, that problem will still be there.
Through the Reeve, should I pull it up? In the encroachment agreement, under terms and termination, there is a section 2B, the removal and destruction and end of useful life of the encroachment. So it doesn't go on forever. It is for the term of this, the same property owners as well. So if they move or change hands, then it would no longer exist. So in my conversations with the owners, they do have plans to do 2 new well sites for their dwelling and to move that. So they are aware of it. I believe they're trying to get their property into compliance for not necessarily selling, but for future planning within their family. So, thank you.
Thank you for the clarification. Motion's on the floor. Any further discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We'll move on to 8.33, IDP and ICF counselor representatives. This was discovered during our organizational meeting. There were some questions with boundary changes, and we're catching up. Go ahead.
Good morning, Council. Sherry Bars with administration again, presenting the updated intermunicipal development plan and intermunicipal collaborative framework representatives for Council's consideration. As mentioned at the October 24th, 2025 organizational meeting, Council directed administration to update the councilor representatives for the various IDP and ICF committees to align representation with the new electoral division boundaries. And so if the proposed list of appointments is provided in attachment A on page 136 of the agenda package for council's consideration. That concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Go ahead.
Sorry. I appreciate administration's efforts to kind of spread the workload over all of the counselors, but I wonder if that's a priority for us or not. I saw a couple of instances where I think they recommended certain representation just in order to spread it over. But for instance, for standard, we have Division 1, which is me, and Division 2, which is Councillor Hebbs. But really, Division 7 would be better. The area now for Division 7 goes right up to the border of the village of Standard. So in my mind, it would make more sense for Division 7 to be the second representative on that. I'm just curious whether council cares more about smoothing the workload over each of us, or whether we should look at individual ones and decide whether it makes sense or not.
Good discussion. Any matrix why, how it came this way with staff? Is there any came to be?
Through the Reeve to council, it was looking at the division that abutted directly to each municipality to determine which division would represent. I would like to clarify that there isn't a high commitment to this committee. When there isn't a meeting for representation, it's usually all of council with the neighboring municipality. The IDPs, we are reviewing them, have the list. Some of them are very specific about reviewing every 5 years. It's typically an administration to administration exercise and coming back. The intermunicipal collaborative frameworks are all due to be reviewed in 2026 as they expire March of 2027. And those typically, many of the smaller municipalities, we actually don't have any service agreements that would be applicable. And so it's a small meeting that we typically have been doing also administrative to administrative. The only commitment that I'm aware of that's a little higher would be with the town of Strathmore, which we have an intermunicipal collaborative committee, is what they call it, ICC, where they would like to have at a minimum, and it hasn't been decided, 4 meetings a year with representatives for representatives. And so that was just one of the things that we would have to follow up with the town of Strathmore.
Okay, so you're saying that there's really not a work commitment.
That's correct. Through the
Okay.
They couldn't, I know with Rocky View, we stood it up once before to talk about an issue. It can be brought up, definitely. And then anything that's decided with these all has to be reviewed by each individual council and approved. So you do have input on it. The whole council does, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So the work is done by the committee, and sometimes the committee doesn't do the work. Sometimes the committee just kicks it to admin to do the work, and then it does get voted on by bylaw. Well, one's a bylaw, one's a resolution, but yeah. So the planning one is the document, the intermunicipal development plan.
Okay. Okay, I'm satisfied with that. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Council's wishes? Anyone want to make a motion? Go ahead.
I can see adjoining. I'll go on. I'll just go down the line here. Rocky View. Division 6 is adjoining a lot. Not on. Or we look at Strathmore, everybody that's adjoining is on. And I go down to Rocky Ford and Division 6. Yeah. But I surround it. But Division 5 is a ways away. Division 7 is probably about the same ways away. But alternate for Rocky Ford Division 4 is on the far end of the county. I would think maybe 7 should be there. I don't think it's that important, but anybody who looks at it will wonder why it ain't the closest one. I'm the only meetings I've ever had was with Knee Hill, and that was because of a development there. The rest of it's probably, yeah. I just wanted it out there that that's the way it was done.
And just one point from administration is that the town one is unique, where the town actually did request that 4 members of council sit on that intermunicipal committee, where the rest, that was a request from the town, so we did oblige to put 4. I think that, you know, right, wrong, or indifferent, I actually think that committee, and I think that council that attended those meetings and attest to it as well, that it was actually the least successful IDP or intermunicipal committee. That could have also been a lot of different issues as well, maybe just not the size. However, realistically, totally up to council. I can't even foresee any work being committed or completed on any of these committees in 2025. Maybe in 2026 there might be a meeting at some point. However, realistically up to council, whatever you guys want to do. We're more than willing to change it however you guys like to do. We just need some direction. Thank you.
For myself, because I was at the one with Strathmore, and I found the success happened when we let the staff to staff negotiations. They come back with us with approvals, far more productive than what we were doing. And it's to deal with operations, it's to deal with agreements and things like that already in place. So this is what they're specialized in. Definitely we can be there if there's something that we need some political sway or whatnot, but I think we found a lot of success letting staff negotiate these and then bring them back to us, and then they go back, whatever municipality we're dealing with, they go back to their councils, and if they approve it, it takes the confrontation out of it, to put it mildly, I guess, and it's just the nuts and bolts of an agreement, but that's just me. Council's wishes.
I think these agreements, these are in the agreement that the other municipalities have too, right? So it's just not a matter of changing our end, then we have to change the other end too. I'll make a motion that we accept it as information. I don't have the thing right here in front of me.
Page 1.
Council approves council representations for the intermunicipal development plan, IDP, and intermunicipal collaboration framework, ICF, committees as presented in attachment A.
Thank you for the motion. Any further discussion on the motion before I call the question? Not seeing any. I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. We'll move on to 8.41, Transportation and Agricultural Report. Go ahead.
Good morning, Council. Brad Bullock, presenting the October Transportation and Agricultural Report. The report begins on page 139 of the agenda. And I can maybe just, for the benefit of the new councillors, step through it a little bit. Generally, on the first few pages, we will highlight some of the projects and operational activities that the department is engaged in. These are also included in the following pages with more detailed information, but this gives it's just a highlight of some of the more prominent projects that are happening within the county, some of the projects of interest. And then starting on page 145 of the report, is this a summary of the budget, what was budgeted, what's committed for expenditure. So for example, that would be, say, a truck or a tractor that's been ordered but not yet received and not yet paid for, and then what has actually been spent in the year. And then the following pages is just a detailed breakdown with some more detailed information of the capital projects happening within the county and also the operational activities. So the information is there in the report, and I'm here for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Go ahead.
And an idea just popped in my head. We'll go to that report page. Oh, now I got an error on here. Okay. Go to capital projects. And we got that line there, right? Now I have to know, get my map out, find it. Would it be possible to link from staff pictures of it, where it is on the county map, you know, kind of like the little file that was developed in doing this? And then when I'm looking at that, I can click on that little link. I wouldn't have to look it up on my map. And then, you know how small it is. Is that possible in the future when we're developing our IT systems?
Yes, through the REEF, that is possible to do. I can coordinate with General Manager Bullock on that.
Okay, I look forward.
Yeah, again, you can, I think that they will follow up, but yeah, just a general improvement, I'm sure it would be fine without.
Yeah, we can certainly look.
That's a good idea. Have a link there and you can, yeah, because the bridge files you look and go, okay, you know, you understand it as operations, hands down, probably could drive to a bridge file without, but we don't, you know, and you don't want us out there.
And just for clarification through the Reeve, a link that would then open up like the GIS map and show that particular location. Is that what I'm understanding?
You'll have a file of where it is in the county. Something similar with like when we have municipal planning, they'll show a map. And then they'll have a pinpoint where it is, right? Bigger map than a mile square. Like I can equate it to Strathmore or to Rocky Ford or, you know, where the crossing actually is.
Understood. Yeah, we can look at something that will help locate that.
Yeah, like the picture that's on before here, nice picture.
I would think with our GIS system, it'd be a link and it would pull up, and then with the GIS, you can go wherever you want from that point. You can pull it out and look bigger, you can pull it down, then there's attachments with all that kind of stuff. And that's something that we probably should get some training on in the future, because I can play with it and figure it out, but it takes a while to kind of learn where it is, and the level of information that you can pull up and hide is also really good too. Great discussions. Yeah, looking for a motion. Anyone? Go ahead.
I'll move that council accepts the October 2025 Transportation and Agriculture Department report as information.
Thank you. Any discussion? Go ahead.
Just have a question. The water line that's down by Carsland, is it still scheduled to be done by end of November?
Currently, I don't think it's scheduled for end of November. Right now, by the end of the year, we have coordinated. We are in close coordination with that project with the developers in the area that we relying on that water line, and we're in good shape as far as supplying the water that they need when they need it. There has been some progress on that. There, for example, the electrical buildings in place now. There was some delays on that, and then there's some other buildings to go in, but it is close, and so far we're in good shape for supplying the water once the developers in the area that are going to rely on it do need it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, just through to yourself, the local landowners down there have given me curious questions on the same thing of when is it going to be done, what's being done, and all that kind of stuff. Is there any way that as a project is being carried out, that you can feed back to the local people how things are being done, what's being done? And because they do have questions and they have no place to really get a good answer from the current construction.
Certainly through the Reeve, I mean, one source of information are these monthly reports that are published within the agenda. Individuals can certainly reach out to staff anytime and ask those questions. Generally, we haven't really put out an updates to the community, sort of regular updates, but that's something we could do if council wanted. We could put it up on the website and residents could go to that and get up to date, get updates on these larger projects that are of interest to the community if wanted.
Anything else? I just wanted to say to all council and the new ones especially, if you have concerns, questions, comments about, you know, a landowner says something, road maintenance, or there's a pothole somewhere or whatever, go through the CAO through an email or a phone call or a text or however it works, and staff will respond to it. Of course, you can bring it to council if you want and wait here, but they will respond. We have an excellent crew that definitely want to make sure things are safe and want to make sure, you know, if a sign's down, or I can think of any number of things I've got over the years, and they're very good at responding and they will follow up. I suggest that you do it through probably through an email is probably the best. Then they can follow up with you when they're done, and it kind of, you can see how it goes through the departments. They respond back. So motions on the floor. Any further discussion? I will call the question. All in favor? That's carried. 8.42 Wheatland Regional Corporation unanimous shareholder agreement and bylaw updates.
Yes. Good morning, council. Again, Brad Bullock presenting the report regarding the scroll down here on the screen. Apologies. So this is something that's been ongoing for quite some time with the WRC. I think starting back in early 2024, if not late 2023. And the Wheatland Regional Corporation, which if everybody knows, it's a municipally owned corporation owned by Hussar, Standard, Rockyford, and the county. And it supplies water to Standard and Rockyford and Gleason and Rosebud. And so they are updating their unanimous shareholders agreement and bylaw number 1. So this has been before the Wheatland Regional Corporation Board quite a bit and through council. There have been quite a few questions back and forth and updates with the legal and between the municipalities and with the board itself. It have come to a final version of the USA and the bylaw now, that they are looking for approval from council, and council and the county being a shareholder of the corporation. And so in order to update these, they do need unanimous vote of all of the shareholders. One mechanism that council can do this is by passing a resolution, which then will go to the WRC for consideration as they update these documents. But what they do need is unanimous approval from each of the shareholders or each of the municipalities. So the information there is started on page 156 of the report. There were some recent updates, I think, regarding to privacy and appointment of directors, which have now been updated, I believe, to the satisfaction of the board and to council per the previous comments and questions that came. And now they're just looking for those resolutions for approval of the 2 documents. That concludes my report, and I'm here for any questions.
Thank you. Council's questions or wishes? Go ahead.
So I sit on that board and I did work through the questions that were raised about the 2 documents. So I'm definitely satisfied with the results that we have today. So I'll move that council approve the Wheatland Regional Corporation unanimous shareholder agreement, second amending agreement in the form attached to this report. Further, to authorize the Reeve to sign and deliver on behalf of Wheatland County the USA amendment and any related or necessary documents required by the WRC to give effect to the USA amendment, including acknowledgements, certificates, confirmations, and counterpart signature pages. And further, to authorize the Reeve in consultation with Wheatland County's Chief Administrative Officer to approve and execute any non-material revisions to the USA amendment prior to signing.
Thank you. Motion's on the floor. Any discussion? Just for the new counselors, I'll say this was heavily involved through council. Not so much more the staff, because with these agreements, the staff have the expertise on a lot of we will change. How I want to put it this, councils will change. This agreement's going to stay. So in the best interest of the county, we let staff look at it and refine it. And I think the villages, some of them already agreed to this. Their councils, I think.
Some, but some also are in the position, same with us. I brought this to our June meeting and just had a resolution to approve it as information, but some of the villages also were in the same boat, so they need to get their formal resolutions in place. So
The MCC, the Municipal Control Corporation, comes with a whole list of things to do the proper way, and this was something that we struggled with back when I was on WRC about how to do things and how to do it properly. And I believe everybody's up to speed now. So, any further discussion? Go ahead.
And I would just say, like, that whole thing has provincial oversight anyhow, correct? So they could, if a board or a county council made a decision that was bad, there is no provincial oversight on that? That's just between us and them? I don't know the answer to that.
That I don't know.
I can, through the Reeve, I can try and answer that. Municipalities are able to, they do have natural person powers as a corporation. And so this particular corporation is a corporation of the municipalities. So with the shareholders being the municipalities. And so while the province does have oversight in terms of the municipalities' ability to form such corporations and agreements, it doesn't necessarily have direct oversight over the corporation. It is a legal entity, just like the county is a legal entity. It does provide water services, however, and so obviously that side of what the corporation does has provincial oversight with Alberta Environment and the regulations and approvals related to that. However, just something to keep in mind that municipalities are corporations in and of themselves and have the authority under the Corporation Act to form these things, also in line with the MGA.
Go ahead, Councillor Custer.
At the time we were setting up this corporation, I believe it's Part 9, that's going back, but we had to set it up to unanimous shareholders agreement. All the municipality were unanimously agreed to it. There was a lawyer involved. And then one was voted on and the documents all put together. It had to be approved by the province and they had to, I believe, take it to cabinet and they voted on it there to establish the corporation. Now we have to abide by the rules in the corporation. So I don't think they expect a report every year, but every time we do something to the rates or for non-compliance, for one time we just didn't report something and you get a letter back, right? Yeah, that's not because of the LIHO, it's because of the contravened the Environment Act or something, right? So once it was set up, but it took a lot, over a year to get it, all the documents they wanted, yeah.
Motion on the floor. Any further questions? I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried unanimously. There's a second resolution.
I'll go ahead.
Okay.
I'll move that council approves the Wheatland Regional Corporation amended and restated bylaw number 1 in the form attached to this report. I'll further authorize the Reeve to sign and deliver on behalf of Wheatland County the amended bylaw and any related or necessary documents required by WRC to give effect to the amended bylaw, including acknowledgements, certificates, confirmations, and counterpart signature pages. and further authorize the Reeve in consultation with Wheatland County's Chief Administrative Officer to approve and execute any non-material revisions to the amended bylaw prior to signing.
Thank you. Motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. We will move on to new business 9.1. Councillor Kester. We have paper copies for everyone. Circulation without notice. So procedure wise, first we have to look if we're going to proceed with this.
Yes, so maybe I'll just walk through the procedure if
Thank
that's
you.
okay with council. So Councillor Kester provided a notice of motion prior to the council meeting, so everyone did receive a copy of that to review, which is great. So he did provide that in writing to council. Councillor Kester then provided the motion verbally as well, which is also required under the procedure bylaw, so that was done correctly as well. So Councillor Kester is hoping to have this motion considered by council today. So Councillor Kester could have put a notice of motion forward, just like any councillor could, for a future council meeting, and that isn't up for debate. So let's just say a council member brought a notice of motion to the next council meeting, and they said that they want to put this notice of motion on the floor for the next council meeting. Council has to discuss it at the next council meeting. However, Councillor Kester is hoping to get this one discussed at the meeting today, which council can do under the procedure bylaw. They just need to pass a resolution to do so. So section 96 of the procedure bylaw is very clear. It says council may by resolution agree to waive the notice period and address the matter at the same meeting at which the notice of motion was presented if council considers it appropriate to do so. So that being said, Councillor Kester most likely would want to make a motion something along the lines of that council waive the notice of motion, the notice period for the notice of motion presented by Councillor Kester. And then if that is passed, then that period has been waived and council can discuss that today. If council chooses not to do it today, they can vote against that motion and then it'll come to the next council meeting. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification. Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that council waive the notice period for the notice of motion stated earlier in the meeting.
Motions on the floor, council discussion. Go ahead. How long would council want? Do we want to bring this back after lunch? What is the motion, the mover wish? Go ahead. Sorry, I can't see your hand. You could stick it up higher.
Just a point of order. There's nothing to discuss unless we pass the motion to waive the notice of motion. Otherwise, there's nothing to discuss here. So I think that's the first order of business here.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion on the floor? Go ahead.
I know when I went around campaigning, that was probably hit the top of the charts. Get along with our neighboring municipalities within Wheatland County borders. I won't use any of the explorative words I've been told, but it was very important to people in my area that get along with everybody. And yeah, I said I'd bring it up as the earliest opportunity I can. This is the first council meeting.
Does council need time to review the information that's here? It's weird.
I propose we take a 10-minute recess to review what we have and then proceed.
How does that work with the motion on the floor? It can stay?
Yeah, you can just call it recess.
Okay, we'll call a recess and we'll reconvene at 11:35.
I'm gonna print that paper.
35 by my watch, so council is resuming. There's a motion on the floor for council to waive notice of motion presented by Councillor Kester. Any discussion? Anything else? So if this passes, we proceed to the discussion. If it gets defeated, it would go to the next council meeting automatically, correct?
I think Councillor Kessler would just have to clarify that he intends to bring it to the December 2nd meeting for a discussion. That would be the only thing. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. No further discussion. I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Councillor Kester, the floor is yours.
Just name.
Expressed my concern of not having regional partnership meetings anymore. And we used to have quarterly meetings every 3 months. All the municipalities would get together and we would discuss things of interest of every municipality, things we can cooperate on, things we could share on, and try and pass our cost savings to all the municipalities of the region. Council made these motions and stopped going to, well, partnership meetings. And then shortly after, I think partnership meetings just stopped. Because what I was understood as, if everybody doesn't go to a partnership meeting, you can't call it a partnership meeting. And I'm thinking as a region, we are suffering immensely from not talking to our neighbors in any sort of situation, formal or informally. But, and as so you all know, one councillor did go to a partnership meeting, declared at the partnership meeting that he was there for, that person was there for, not for county business. He was just there because he was interested as a citizen. Council did a code of conduct on him and found him guilty of breaching the code of conduct. So that's what we're wearing right now. So I would like to rescind, have all these 3 motions rescinded and get back to the business of collaborating with our neighbors. Collaborating with our neighbors is part of the government's mandate on municipalities to share information, share infrastructure. There's regional collaboration grants that are more easier to get than grants just for a municipality. We are missing out on both money, but the important thing, we're missing out on collaborating with our neighbors. And I guess just one question to the CAO. Like there's 3 motions there. Does everyone have to be voted separately or can they be voted as a package?
So through the chair, it would all be one motion. So all motions are just there as per the notice of motion. So it would just be all 3 at once. One thing I'd just like to point out to council as well is that if council does choose to rescind these motions, you don't rescind any actions that have already been completed. It's just moving forward. And when administration worked on this notice of motion with Councillor Kester, it was the motions that these ones were very specific, that it was either a legal matter that was going to proceed or attendance at the meetings. So we did write them a few letters from our legal counsel to theirs. That obviously cannot be reversed, but nothing will go forward if this motion passes. And then the attendance at the 07-15 defer attendance at future WRP meetings, that would be rescinded, of course, so you could attend. And then 02-18, which I'm just referencing the last two letters of each motion, that choose not to support attendance at the current meeting. So that's realistically the only things that will be rescinded. So no further legal action, and then just attendance at the meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Sorry, I can almost see you guys. That was one of the main things I said on Monday, that our area was very supportive of getting back to talking with all the municipalities and working go forward. And one of the things, it's maybe a little outside the area, but when I was talking to candidates who are running for Martin Shields, I talked to a person in Tabor, and they had what they call a community hub, which is even a little larger than just the municipalities talking together, but included the municipalities within it, so that they could start feeding in what the desires in the community are, and could be taken into account by all the municipalities and looking after ratepayers going forward as a community. So I'm very supportive of getting back together and discussing things that affect all the municipalities and working together.
Anyone else?
I too am for sure willing to go forward with moving ahead and going to the meetings, but once I read the letter, I remember bringing back what brought a lot of this on was when you go, no decisions can be made at a partnership meeting. The council doesn't make their decisions there. And so I don't mind going forward and listening to what projects they're working on and going through and telling what we're working on. I think that's great, but we can't go there and make decisions out of council. And I think when I read the letter, they assume that we would, because that's what they want, that we wanted the same thing. But just you can have a difference of opinions and still go to the partnership meetings. I think getting to know other council, I think that's great. And I was really sad that this had to happen, but it's a strong letter. It wasn't, I don't think it was warranted, but I believe that what we did at the time was good, but I am willing to go forward for sure. And, but I do know that that the villages and the town, they got to know that we have to make the decisions in the council meetings. And we have people that are serving those boards, WRC, WHMB. We have people that are on those boards, and they inform us also and give information to us. And then we ask for information. That's a different route out of partnership meetings to me. I wish that we could have something that we could all kind of work towards, but all these other things like I don't know, an event or whatever, these are the kind of things that the partnership meetings and getting to know each other's council and be able to communicate things and give information back and forth is great, but decisions cannot be made at the partnership meetings. Thanks.
Councillor Larson and Councillor Hibbs.
Councillor Bigger, can you support what you're saying out of this letter? Because I didn't see that in the letter.
However, the partnerships and collaborations required to make the boards we jointly sit on are severely compromised because of some of the decisions, and those decisions are having the vast impact on all of us. When it get down to the WRC was reported back to us. Well, I don't know where it says WRC. Can't find the exact spot.
At 8 o'clock.
The councillors of alternate and second representative do not make decisions that are best for the board they represent, but rather based on council beliefs. So there was something about we pulled out of operations. Oh, they have already created much anguished as the water corporation and have in fact pulled out of the operation side of the entity, leaving the remaining municipalities in a position of covering more costs than originally anticipated because the costs are not shared. So this is operations, and operations, we could not have ever brought that to the partnership. And the decision was made at the council. So you can't go to a partnership and decide that WRC has to work on its own also. Do you understand what I'm saying? But I don't, just so you know, the partnership meetings are good, but they have to be laid out. I think, you know, better agendas. There's a few times that they had speakers come out that it would pertain to all of us. There was one on fire protection that affects all of us, stuff that affects all of us. Things that are brought to light by speakers or somebody else at the meeting is great. And getting to know everybody and what they're doing and what's happening in their villages. I think that's great. But things like that don't need to come to a corporation, a partnership meeting, I believe. The decisions have to be made at council.
That's not what Councillor Kester's asking for. Councillor Kester's asking that we rescind these 3 motions and move forward.
So what I'm saying is that I do want to move forward, but I want the partnership meetings and the partners to know that decisions can't be made at those meetings, that the partnerships, the meetings have to be organized or put to the point where it's helpful to, where it's not that it's not a council decisions or council asking us what we believe. Like you go to a partnership meeting and someone says, why did you do this at WFCSS? Well, that was at a council meeting that had nothing to do with the partnership meeting. Do you understand what I'm saying?
To me, that sounds like making demands on something that we're just going to start up meeting. I think everyone understands their roles as councillors and how decisions are made. I don't support that.
Go ahead.
Just to kind of keep everyone on topic, I think the motion right now is just to rescind these ones. If council chooses to make another motion about perhaps setting a terms of reference for the WRP for all municipalities to agree to, that could be a separate topic as well. Again, I think Councillor Larson made a great point that he thinks that everyone understands those responsibilities. Sometimes it's good just to get them on paper and then just have that agreed. It should have a terms of reference for sure. I think all of our other committees do as well. And then, you know, it's right there and everything is on paper for everyone to see and understand. Thank you. But just, yeah, the motion.
Great input. Thank you. Good. Councillor Hebbs.
I'll try to keep it to the motion itself. I've heard the same stuff that many people have, that, you know, it's that they want us to get along with our neighbors. And I've never seen this letter before, so I admit that you caught me off guard. But if you read, like, it's interesting. The very first thing I noticed is that Hazard did not sign on. Right? You got Rocky Ford and Standard only. So does that mean Hazard feels they are being treated fairly? But so at the end of paragraph 2, they say, we also understand the inner workings of their council as something they have to determine. And while some of those decisions have been questionable, we realize commenting on them is outside of our purview. Literally 2 paragraphs later, they sanction this is their words, they sanction one of their very long-standing councillors, and this councillor was on both boards mentioned above. He sat as chair of the housing body and was vice chair of the water corporation. The councillors that are the alternate of the second representative do not make decisions that are best for the board they represent, but rather based on what their council believes or what their personal opinion is. I'm still willing to bury the hatchet, but...
Okay, point of order. We're not here to discuss the letter from the Village of Standard and Rockyford. We're here to discuss whether we're going to rescind these 3 motions. CAO Henderson just said that. Can we stay on topic, please?
I will rule on your point of order. That has dovetails with this. This is what started all of this. And this is why I would like to have had a fulsome discussion with all the information. This is what happens when something tries to get rammed through. People have questions. These are new counselors. They're talking about things. So I will rule your point of order does not stand.
Well, I just say the letter was provided for us right here in our package, so theoretically we can discuss it, right? And for some of us that have not seen it, you know, I think it's deal.
My point of order, sir, do not mutter in council chambers. If you have something to say,
If you can find something that says I can't talk to myself, you go ahead and bring it. Otherwise, shut up.
we're taking a 10-minute.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
And so do you.
Trying to keep the meeting productive. Everybody has a right. In this room, we're all equals. We are all equals.
You pull up the part of the procedure bylaw. It says I can't say something to myself
It's
and we'll
disruptive.
talk.
It's disruptive to everybody in the.
Bring it up.
Oh, I think we do need respectful language, though.
We'll resume council meeting. We have a motion on the floor from Councillor Kester. Or do we? No, we do not. We carried the one motion. We're still looking for, at least on my screen, did we ever have a motion to rescind those 3? Was it put forward? The notice of motion was carried forward, yeah. Yeah, so that's been, but we still have a motion pending number 2 on our screen here. No one's put a name to that. Am I correct with that? Yeah. Okay. So let's start with maybe that motion on the floor would be the best for process to have a motion to discuss. Anyway. You did? Do we have that confirmed?
Yeah.
So number 2, the council rescind the motion CM. Okay, sorry, I was just going by what's on the screen here. Okay, so there's a motion on the floor. Thank you. Yes, that I agreed. So we're in the midst of a discussion. Is there anything further before I call the question? Seeing none, hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Anything further on this issue?
I just wanted to ask if maybe if it's, you can tell me if it's at an inappropriate time, but I like the idea of the terms of reference for the meeting. Is there anywhere that admin can speak to the rest of, could be passed around, or should we just discuss that when we were, I'm just wondering if I like the idea of the terms of reference, wondering if we could perhaps either bring it forward at the staff and other councils, staff, admin to admins, try to bring up a term of reference, or if we just wait and talk to councils when we start meeting with them. Either way, I'm okay.
Counselor Kester and then Counselor Larson, sorry.
I believe my feelings are when we have a meeting, first meeting as a regional partnership, that's when we talk about to the whole group at once, terms of reference. The whole group, it belongs to the whole group. They're the ones that should talk about it. So that should be an agenda item for the new counselors or all counselors. There was always an agenda for and it was the person that the county or the municipality that was hosting the partnership meeting, they chaired it, and their administration kept minutes and sent them out to everybody. Then the next meeting, that way shared all the responsibilities. This regional partnership wrote quite a few letters on partnership letterhead that all the municipalities agreed to at the time, because the next meeting was 3 months away. It gives municipalities time to get and have the decision made in their own municipality, and they could send a supporting letter to the partnership, say fire it off. Feeling was if everybody's together for a grant, it was easier to get if everybody agreed. That's how it was done in the past. So I wouldn't worry about it till we have our first meeting.
Counselor Larson.
I would agree that we needed terms of reference, but I think the optics of us developing something ahead of time would look bad to the other municipalities as if we're trying to dictate to them how we want to run things. So I think it's a good idea, but I do think it should be done at the first actual regional partnership meeting.
That's good.
Anything further? Go ahead.
I would like us to host the first partnership meeting. And I don't know if we got time in November yet to have one. It's a pretty busy month with the RMA and stuff. I don't know what the optics would be to hurry it, but if we had one in December, I'm not good with dates or anything. I don't know what, but I think would be nice to have one sooner than later. And we could send out an invitation and say, we're back. I don't know. And see what happens, you know. Won't know till we have a meeting.
Maybe council could consider adding it to the committee of the whole for discussion, just for dates that might work for everyone. Just give all council a week, and we have a committee of the whole in the next week, next Wednesday.
Yeah, bring it over to there. That would fine.
Counselor Larson.
I think it would be better if we offered to host rather than saying we're going to host, but I think it's a good idea. I just think offer might be a better way to put it.
Council, then do we want to put a letter out before committee of the whole for an invitation offer to host, or do we want to just wait till after committee of the whole?
I think we should wait until after committee of the whole.
Okay.
Decide on a date and send an invitation following that.
But we could tell anybody we want now.
Was it a meeting of the whole, is what you said?
Sorry, committee of the whole. It's a more informal meeting where staff can give us updates on different things more in depth instead of a council meeting.
And when is that?
Next Wednesday.
Yep, on the 12th of November. It would typically be scheduled for the 11th. It's just Remembrance Day, so it's a statutory holiday, so we move all the meetings to the next day.
So seeing nothing further on the main agenda, we'll have some in-camera items. Is there anything else? So I make the motion to move us in camera at 1:08 p.m. All in favor? That's carried. We're back with the November 4th meeting, back from in camera. Motions arising from in camera. Go ahead.
I move that council appoints Sherry Bars as interim chief administrative officer effective November 24th, 2025.
Thank you for the motion. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing and hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Anything further? Go ahead.
I'll move that council direct administration to advertise the full-time position of chief administrative officer.
Thank you for the motion. Any discussion on the motion? Call the question. All in favor? That's carried. That concludes our agenda for today. This meeting is adjourned.